receiving us okay and the audio's okay. So tonight's show is going to be a sort of recap show. We're going to be talking to people that have been on the show previously, and we're going to be sort of picking up on some stories that have been dealt with in previous shows, but we're going to be... it's basically a recap of sorts. So we shall go across to our guests in a second, but as you can see, we've got Agent S is manning the stations here today. And... we might as well just go across to the hot seat right now. And here's our guest. Hello, guest. Oh dear. Yeah, it's one of those shows, I'm afraid, folks. No, we have actually got somebody here. We're not lying to you. So let's have a little look who it is. All right. Who is it? No, is it Michael Glickman? No, Francine Blake. Well, we've got two guests. What would you like to be known as, guests?
I think Lee and Debbie will do just fine.
Lee and Debbie, yeah?
Yeah.
There you go. I faded your mics up. I remembered to do it now. There we go. Very good of you. So, right. Well, what colour background would you like to have? Red, green, or blue?
What is your choice?
Or pink?
Blue. Turquoisey blue.
Turquoise blue. Is that turquoisey blue?
No, the other one. Go down.
This one. Down? That one?
Top right now.
There? There.
Yeah,
Yeah, you want to be... Okay, there you go. There's your background.
lovely.
So, yeah.
We are the world.
Yeah. So, well, very nice to have you on the show. And for viewers who are tuning in for the first time, we have guests on most weeks. We haven't had guests every single week because we can't always get the guests. But last week we had somebody Skyping in, but luckily this week we've got live guests in the studio. And we're going to be recapping on some of the shows that have gone on so far and talking to you about a little bit of the controversy that is the crop circle world we know and love so much. So, right. Well, somebody's mobile phone's going off. Great. Okay. Yes. Turn all your mobile phones onto silent.
That was Debbie.
Even you listening there out in the wilds, make sure you turn your phones onto silent.
I haven't brought my phone.
And then you can enjoy the show. Firstly, I've got to say something about the advertising situation. I've been made aware of the fact that there are adverts which are now currently playing on live stream when you watch the program. And basically these adverts come in with a live show at every 15 minutes, and there's nothing you can do about these adverts at all, unless, of course, you want to pay live stream £9, and this is you have to do this, not me. You have to do this. Pay live stream £9 a month in order to not have the adverts so they don't interrupt and cut off the program. So if you're catching us just after we've been cut off for a little bit, I apologise for that. But there's not much I can do about it unless we are rich and can afford to pay off good old live stream. So there is another way to do it. Apparently, you can. There's ad blocking software. So if you type into Google live stream adverts and blocking, then there's instructions on how to actually block off the adverts coming in. But I don't know whether that's an authorised thing that you are or not meant to do. But they're certainly very intrusive, and I wouldn't want to make anyone suffer having to watch adverts for TV licensing or Xbox. When they would rather be watching CirclemakersTV. So, okay, well, we go back across to the guests on the chair, and just checking with you. Right then, what do you think of the season so far then?
Well,
What season?
yeah, what season so far? It hasn't really kicked off, has it? Well, this is the first time I've seen him, what you just showed me now.
Yes. Well, we can go and have a little look at the stuff that's appeared so far. So. If we go across to the Crop Circle Connector website, and maybe we can zoom in a little bit, do the Control Plus thingy. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. And we've got these two circles which appeared as I believe the first things. Well, they might have been the second things actually. I'm not sure now. Maybe in the second ones in Wiltshire, and they're just below the White Horse in Alton Barnes, Alton Priors, and not too complicated. To say the least, but at least there wasn't a phallus in the middle of them somewhere going off.
Maybe that was what was to come there.
I was going to say we can be thankful for some things, sort of small mercies.
Not been disturbed.
Yes. So, and then we're going on to there's another one somewhere. Which would you like to go to next? Chepstow. So we could probably scroll down a little bit. Yeah, yep, that's it. A bit hard to get that in the screen all at the same time. But this appeared in Chepstow. Oops, we got bloody timers on watches now. Right, let me put Agent S's mic up. There you go. And this one appeared across the River Severn from a power station. I'm not sure whether it's on the same side as the power station or I think it's on the opposite bank near a power station. And so some people are kind of, interested in the power station connections because of Japan and nuclear stuff. But there you go, folks. That's that one. And then one of the newest ones to appear, which is this one, which is a bit more interesting, quite nice. It looks like somebody's trying to represent maybe solar eclipses or lunar eclipses or something like that, sort of the sun with a...
Looks like the old Mill Hill one to me, the one with the old 400 odd discs in it.
Yeah.
On top of the hill there.
Well, maybe
same sort of...
Maybe they're watching CirclemakersTV with the how to do it, how to draw it. And they're doing a slightly simplified version, yeah. But certainly seems to be something going on with different levels of obscurity of something on a larger circle. The inner circles are sort of showing up and not showing up. So it might be what do you reckon, an eclipse or phases of the moon or something like that? Lunar eclipse?
Yeah, it could be, I guess. It's all open to interpretation, isn't it? Or from the circle maker's point of view, maybe it was unfinished. Maybe have tended to, colour all the middle bit in there and got disturbed or run out of enthusiasm or something.
Yes.
Or it could be, you'll never know, I guess.
Ran out of circle making juices, yes. Yeah. Yes, I see. Okay, well, very interesting start then. So do you think that these are made by expert teams, or what would your kind of view on that be?
I'd kind of say no, because they kind of...
It's in rape, isn't it? So it's quite difficult, isn't it, rape?
Yeah, rape is difficult substance to work in anyway, but that's maybe explains why it's a bit wonky on a couple of sides there. But the actual designs themselves, especially the two circled ones, so they're really...
Oh yeah, the basic one.
Really basic. And then the other one...
Not experts.
No, or just somebody experimenting, just starting out like...
Team.
Yeah. Back in the day, start off with more simpler designs, don't you? Where you're just starting to find your feet and stuff, and then branch up. I mean, where was this one that you've got on the screen there?
Silbury Hill.
Silbury Hill.
Yes.
And the other one was in Chepstow, so it can't all be the same team, sort of evolving in each circle,
That's Silbury Hill, and the one which is near the nuclear power station. I think we described it last week. It's got a funny name, the place of where it is. It sounds something like clap your arse or something.
I know it well, yeah.
Clap your arse.
I stayed in a hotel there once.
Yeah. Yes. So
that kind of looks like further up the line one. We're starting to experiment with the basic circle sort of shapes.
Certainly neater, isn't it? A lot crisper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I hope the audio is coming through okay, because we're showing quite a lot of deflection. Somebody said turn it up, but I think the trouble is if we turn it up any more, it's actually going to start clipping. So, cool. Just checking that you can hear us fine. Yeah, we're getting a few people saying yes. That's good then. Right. Well, it's going to be an interesting season this year. Maybe you'd like to tell us your opinions about what's going to happen. Do you know much about circle making yourselves?
Yeah, we've been involved in a few circles.
Yes.
If that's what you're asking me in a roundabout, covert sort of way.
Oh yes, okay, yes, yeah. So what are you going to be doing this year?
Well, yeah, so far it feels like not really picking up the vibe this year to get out. I don't know. My boards have gone walkabouts. That's one thing.
Right.
I'm quite loyal to those boards because of who made them, and I haven't got those, and I haven't really. I've been busy with other sort of things going on in our lives, to not get the designing bug as of yet. But the season's early. I might suddenly feel inspired to go out and.
We should say as well that Debbie has got a voice problem today. You got is it laryngitis or what do you?
No, it's just excess something.
just
you better elaborate on that, because that sounds a little bit, excess what?
Well,
shouting and raving it up and dancing and stuff over the weekend.
Oh, I see. Right. Okay.
It's all self-inflicted.
Yeah.
Self-inflicted damage. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, good. At least I'm not going to catch it. That's the main thing.
I won't catch it.
Yeah. So, well, what? So you're gonna not be doing too much yourselves this year.
I don't know. Never say never, but as of yet, I haven't put pen to paper.
Well, it's quite an interesting one from what I've been picking up from the other circle makers so far. I've been told that one of the circle makers, who's very prevalent and does a lot of stuff, is going to be unable to do anything this year. He's kind of been banned because of monetary reasons by people around him. He's been banned from doing anything unless the money situation changes for him, and not having a sort of form of income from anything really. He's kind of limited. Then there's a second circle maker who's also very prevalent, and these are basically the two main guys. I was kind of hinting at this in the earlier shows, but the other guy has told me that what's probably going to happen there is he may not be able to get to Wiltshire because there's he's just owing a lot of money, and it's going to really restrict his ability to travel down. So I think I can say with some sort of honesty and surety that what you've seen appearing so far didn't actually come from the main players that sometimes have started work in Wiltshire by now. They haven't done anything yet, and the warning is out there. May not happen, but the warning is out there that they're not really going to be able to do very many this year. That's it. So we'll wait to see if that actually happens. I mean, there might be a lower standard of crop circles this year, which means obviously there's going to be a large canvas for anybody who's a newcomer to the field to do stuff. Or if you get a few good circles out there, it might be some of those people have done one or two, and maybe a couple of other teams have felt sorry for the subject and come in and filled it in with a few more. But certainly you're not going to have the big numbers that you normally do most years, apparently, this year. So we shall wait to see how that transpires and pans out. And there's my nice glass of cheap Lidl's beer. It's great. 4 cans.
Product placement.
£2.50. 4 cans. God, I don't know.
Matt, you've sold out.
Even how the hell do they even get the cans themselves? And put them in a lorry and drive them to the place for £2.50. I have no idea. There's got to be some sort of Chinese child labour involved somewhere there, I'm sure. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting. What do you think about the lack of potential circles that may be happening or not happening this year?
Well, I don't know. I kind of think it might be a good thing, really, because certain people that have been talking about making money off of selling a lie about crop circles and stuff, and if you're openly saying there that some of the main players are not really interested in doing anything this year for various reasons, then it's out there now. Watch this space. If none actually appeared, it just adds weight to what we've been saying the whole time, really, isn't it? Maybe the researchers actually pay attention to that and think, oh, maybe we were wrong.
Yeah.
They know already, though. Yeah,
they know.
Right,
Yeah.
That's a very big maybe.
Yeah. Okay, well, what we'll do is we'll explain to you a little bit about the format of the show if you're tuning in for the first time. The show is live if it says it's live, and, basically we get people to chat in the chat window, which is scroll down in your web browser, and you'll see a white window with lots of people tapping away. If they're in there, you can tap in as well, and your messages will come up. Everybody can read them. If you want us to read out a question on the air, or as a question for myself or the guests, put it in capital letters to who you want the question asked to. So Agent S, myself, Matt, or Lee or Debbie. And capital letters, we can pick them out easily when we read them then from the rest, which are just general chat. Also, if you want to go to our website, it's CirclemakersTV.org, which is www.circlemakerstv.org. And if you want to Skype into the show, you can actually hear your own tones resonating backwards in a horrible feedback loop to the point where either you give up or we give up. And you can do that by badly setting up your microphone in a program called Skype and adding a user called CirclemakersTV which you can see written at the bottom of the screen here. And CirclemakersTV, add us, and then tell us that you want to chat to us, and we shall ring you, and on the programme you shall go. So, right, well, so it's going to be an interesting year then, basically. I'm just waiting to see how it's going to pan out. No real guesses as to how many circles, but yeah, I mean, I personally think that nature abhors a vacuum, you know. In previous years, when we've known that there aren't going to be many circles made, they've still appeared because other people have come in to make them. So even though these kind of worries and fears are there that there could be a lack of circles, it may not actually happen that way. So, yeah. Right then, well, so this year for yourselves then, well, what are you going to be doing with your spare time if you don't make circles? Do you mind me asking?
Oh, is there a life outside crop circles?
Is there?
Yeah, we work a lot actually, and where I work, it's a particularly busy period as well. So, in previous years when we've, been out and done things, it's always been around work and when I can actually get a day off and stuff. So, I don't know. In the past, we haven't really done too many in one season. 4 or 5. You've done a few more than that, haven't you? In one particular season, but yeah, generally I have to get up early in the morning, so. I've got a very understanding boss though sometimes.
Oh, that helps.
Yes,
yeah,
very much so.
Yeah, especially when you're sort of getting back at 4 or 5 in the morning and covered in bloody, crop stink and and stuff,
Mud and all sorts.
Yeah, you just feel so tired. You just want to go straight to bed rather than even bother showering or whatever. Get up in the morning and then it's like, oh, I've got up late now and I've got to go to work and I haven't even showered and I've got crop on me.
But sometimes though, I find it difficult to sleep. I might have an hour or 2 hours now. I'm suddenly up because I want to go and see what's going on. You've got to go back and investigate and see if it's been found and see if the aeroplanes are flying over it and stuff.
It's very tempting, isn't it, to sort of catch it once the light is just enough so you know that somebody could have spotted it. And it's like, who's going to be the first person to spot it, is it at 5 in the morning, is there going to be some lone person walking up the field?
You'd be surprised.
Yeah.
We've encountered that, haven't we?
Yeah.
Wandering in. Yeah. Great stuff. Right, well, it's a week of controversy for CirclemakersTV, or myself in particular, because oh God, this is going to run and run and run, this one, I'm sure. But Mr. Andy Buckley, I think our guests, you know Andy Buckley, don't you? You've heard that name before.
Oh yes.
Yeah, a couple of times.
Yeah, interesting character. I'm no doubt going to get some form of complaint or something about me having mentioned his name now, because you see, like a royal little motherfucker that he is, you're not allowed to mention the royal one's name, because for fear of getting complaints like I've actually had.
There's one now.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that bleeping is our show going off the air because we mentioned Andy Buckley's name. Well, basically, I have to make a slight apology because I've accused one person who I actually thought it was, because by the nature of the fact that I had a YouTube video containing the name of one person, and a complaint was received by YouTube that this person was complaining about the video. So I've gone on saying oh yes, this particular person has made a complaint to YouTube. Actually, I think it's more likely it's Andy Buckley, because 5 other videos have been complained about and they all contain the references to Andy Buckley and only Andy Buckley. So it's Andy Buckley. Andy Buckley has complained to YouTube and they've upheld the complaint and they've taken 5 of my videos down off YouTube talking about himself and his stupid little antics that he gets up to and his 777 report. And you I think you read this report with some interest, didn't you?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, found it very interesting.
Yeah, talks about some people that circle makers and ourselves we know, and a lot of bollocks in there. Would you say?
Yes, and I especially like the title that's so very imaginative. It just borrowed it off of Al Gore, innit? 77. No, not the 777 bit, but an inconvenient truth. He called it 777 inconvenient truth.
Yes.
Yeah, nice one. But yeah,
Yeah.
Just chuffed her from
Bullshit.
start to end, really.
Yeah, complete crap.
Yeah.
But anyway, the bottom line of this is now I've got to go to extra length. I've taken the videos down off YouTube, and I've got to re-edit them. I've got to bleep Andy Buckley's name out off the videos so that he's not referred. Oh, hang on. Somebody's saying, Matt, the videos are still available to us viewers in America. Yeah. US viewers can view them. So for some reason, if you're in the US, because it doesn't break Andy Buckley's privacy, because this complaint is about privacy, you see, privacy. I'll come back to this point in a minute. But if you're in the US, you can still look at these videos. But if you're in the UK, because Andy Buckley lives in the UK and the complaint is about his privacy in the UK, then you can't watch them for some stupid fucking reason. So anyway, I've got to re-upload them with his name bleeped out. So if you want to find out then who it is, I'll put bleep, but go to this channel, on CirclemakersTV, and we'll tell you who the bleep is about. So it isn't going to work because everybody's going to be so interested to find out what the bleeping's about and who's it's all about. They're going to go to CirclemakersTV.org to find out the gory details. But it just won't break YouTube's guidelines anymore. So it isn't going to work, Mr. Buckley, to stop the information going out there. It's not going to work. Now, because you've, obviously published a lot of stuff about myself, saying things like I'm a government agent and that, I've, because I worked for Customs and Excise years ago, which was not a very happy marriage at all, I can tell you. And I got sacked from there because I work for them, and, I know Tim Matthews, he's a government agent, so I know Tim Matthews. John Lundberg, he must be a government agent, so we're all government agents, and that proves it. Okay, according to this report.
Good enough for me.
Yeah, I mean, with evidence like that, you could convict people of murder and have them hung. Even to this day, they still hang people for just that sort of evidence. Yes, great. It's wonderful, well produced report. Now, because I'm a little bit incensed by this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give everybody who watches this show a free copy of the report. Okay? Now, Mr. Buckley wanted to write about all of this crap, and he said that this must not just be distributed to, it was his and his to control. Mm-hmm. So what I'm doing, I'm on CirclemakersTV.org website, nothing to do with live stream, okay? I'm actually going to put a free copy for download on the website of the whole 777, An Inconvenient Truth. The whole thing's going to be up there for you. I haven't got it this evening, but it should be there by about tomorrow. It should be there tomorrow. You can download it and you can read the whole fucking mess yourself, so you can see what we're on about, because we've talked about this quite a lot now. Now you'll be able to read it for yourself, and you can marvel in the idiocy of this gentleman and his fantastic, fantastic sort of almost like Grimm's fairy tales. The imagination on this guy. So yes, you can read it all for yourself, and that's my gift to you for the bullshit that has been Andy Buckley. If he wishes to take me to court over that because he wants to cease and desist, then I would most happily see you in court, Buckley. Yeah, okay? Because you can complain to YouTube, but trust me, this one's going to need you to go to court, okay?
Message there from Andrew Perker. Matt, would you like a copy of Andy's video I took?
Actually, I would, yes, if we could
Is
show
that the one
that.
where he's talking about two individuals
Yes, he's talking about some people that
we know.
Yeah, there's some crop circle people that he met, and making out that they were, was it threatening or something like that?
Yeah, very threatening and abusive towards him, and and that he say he had an eye on them. But I don't know. He was just
He feared for himself, didn't he?
Yeah,
Felt
fear for his
threatened.
life.
Oh yes, of course. Everybody's out to get Andy Buckley. It's the universe centres around Andy Buckley. And nobody's allowed to talk about Andy Buckley, you see. We're not allowed to talk badly about Andy Buckley, otherwise you get your videos taken down. But it's fine for him to write complete bollocks in the 777 report and not expect anyone to reply to it. That's the way he wants it to be. Well, the world doesn't work like that, Andy. Right of reply, it's called. So
there's a lot of researchers that kind of do that sort of same thing, isn't it, really? You've had trouble in the past, haven't you? People, being exactly like that.
Yeah,
slinging stuff around, but as soon as you mention it back to them, then you're the spawn of Satan.
Yeah, Dorothy makes a point there.
Strange thing.
It's,
Who is Andy Buckley anyway? That's the way I see it.
yeah, who is Andy Buckley anyway? Yeah, exactly. If it wasn't for the bullshit he came out with to try and give himself a name, I don't think anybody would know who Andy Buckley is. The only reason he ever gets any attention every year is because people go, well, this is an absolutely fucking phenomenally, fantastically weird claim. Who is this? Who's Andy Buckley? Who is this man? And do you know what happens then? The person they're talking to turns around and they go, oh, Andy Buckley, he's a mentalist. And that's about as far as Andy Buckley stories go. He's a mentalist, fuck him. Yeah, so...
Does this go on YouTube, by the way?
It will...
You've got a lot of bleeping to do, man.
I've got a lot of bleep.
It's going to be one big bleep that goes through the whole show.
We just start the bleep now.
Yeah.
Can I just say Unix would like to call in a bit later on the Skype?
Okay, Unix.
Bit early yet, but...
Yeah. Well, any time, really. I mean, we could take a call... a bit sooner. We're going to finish it on 10 o'clock because we don't want to keep our guests because it's a work day tomorrow, so we don't want to run on too much. But this one's going to run this story, I think, and we'll see whether Mr. Buckley wants to sort of get a cease and desist from us, but it's not going to work on me. So yes, I assure you, it ain't going to work. So. Right, so what have we got then? Super gag order, Dorothy says. Yeah, I'd like to see it, yeah. But Andrew Perker, yes, please, if you give us permission to show the video on the channel, that would be absolutely superb. So you can actually see Andy Buckley in his full glory then, spouting, yes.
Tofter.
Yeah, spouting renal, renal, yes. So, yeah. Okay. Basically, what we're going to just sort of talk out of our renals now for the rest of the 1.5 hours.
Yeah, or answer questions would be a good thing.
Questions are good.
So, has anybody got any questions they'd like to ask our guests, Lee and Debois? And if you don't, this will be the last time you ever see them. Yes. Go ahead, make their day. So, have you had any interesting stuff recently regarding crop circles? Have you met anybody or chatted to anybody, Agent S, regarding the show? Because what we were going to do as well is we're basically going to go through each one of the shows and we're going to talk in order of what's actually been shown on the show. So, had any feedback from people?
You say that like you know something. Do you?
No.
He probably does.
No.
No, nothing. The only thing from my personal perspective is I was quite excited early on when we started doing the show because I thought this year was going to be when it all happens. But from what I gather,
Nothing's going to happen.
all you're going to be getting
But that might
is
be
the
really
recruit
significant
stuff.
itself, though, isn't it? Really. Might actually just
it's
prove
going to be
some stuff.
significant in some ways, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you think about it, if there's hardly going to be any crop circles whatsoever, what's that going to mean?
Yeah.
Well, in Wiltshire anyway.
In Wiltshire, yeah,
Wiltshire,
around the area. Wiltshire and surrounds.
Yes.
Well, it won't hurt anyway, I don't think.
I don't think so either, no.
It'll hurt a few people.
Well, yeah.
A few people's pockets, probably.
Yeah.
Certainly not us, though.
Oh, I feel very sorry for you with your voice.
Sorry.
Oh. Is it actually giving you any pain at all, or is it just...
Yeah.
It is. Oh, you got a sore throat as well.
That's right, I'm hardcore.
Oh dear.
Got a really bad headache as well.
What do you think the repercussions will be if it is a bad year for the circle making industry?
Well, I don't know, knowing the way that some of the researchers spin things around, maybe...
Surely it'll only affect the researchers because they're the ones...
There's a lot of people that like them for all their other reasons as well. Maybe a few people planned holidays to come round and stuff. But then again, Wiltshire's beautiful anyway, isn't it?
There's other good things to look at as well.
Lots of other stone circles and
Yeah,
stuff.
but how do you think it will affect next year in terms of the researchers? Because obviously they invest money up front to, to get more money, don't they? So surely that will have a
knock-on effect.
knock-on effect, yeah.
Yeah, well, hopefully it will just start raising, because I kind of think consciousness is shifting in the crop circle world, or generally as well,
and
and
all over the world. Yeah.
As the years, roll on, I just think whatever was secret is coming out in every, all around the world.
aspect of our
You
lives.
look at the lies the politicians are spouting, all the expensive scandals, and all these truths are popping out all over the place.
Yeah.
And I just think because the energy shift is happening, it just can't be contained anymore. And that includes crop circles. It was a mystery all up until now, and now circle makers, through this program, are starting to pop out and actually say, well, this is the truth. And again, so it's another thing that anything that's hidden, kept away, secret, it's all going to be revealed, I think, on every level. And this is just one of the levels.
Yeah, but then we're into the transition, aren't we?
Yeah.
And is that what we're excited about?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I think so. I don't
Transition
understand.
is a good thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I
Seeing
don't
the
fully
truth
understand
is-
what the transition is. None of us really know, do we? But we can
Well,
all
you
feel
do.
that the world's changing.
I think you do. I think in society we all behave in a certain way, and when we've got sides like followers, believers, people that don't believe, etc. Once all the bullshit's out of the way, and you're forced to look at it,
Yeah.
then that's when true inspiration can occur,
Yeah.
true talents
We
recognised.
can all
Yes, that's
unite.
what it is, yeah.
Yeah, so
Everything.
that's the transition, I think.
And maybe also the humans will just start realising that they're actually quite powerful, really.
And we're not
Yeah.
separate. We're all one.
Yeah, the one consciousness.
Yeah.
That's what I totally
Well, we're
believe that.
definitely not so much of a community as we used to be, that's for sure.
No, that's right. But then, there's, the powers that be are trying to actually do that. Divide and rule.
Yeah, divide and conquer, isn't it?
Yeah, and all the things that they're doing is through football teams and through the north-south divide, through classes, through countries, through all these isms that we put on ourselves. We're just dividing ourselves up, and I'm a Catholic, so I can't like the Christians, or I don't like the Muslims, and I support Everton, so I don't like anybody who supports Arsenal and stuff like that. It's just like split them up, even down to the youths, that are into different types of music, genres of music and stuff like that. Got to split them down the middle as well, because rockers can't like hip hoppers and hip hoppers don't like that. It's just divide all the way down, and people are starting to realise actually there's a common sort of foe, common enemy, and that's the people that are actually making us think that way. You know what I mean?
Oh, definitely, yeah.
And I like to think that what we're seeing in the world at the moment, despite all the bullshit that's coming out on the TV and stuff like that, is that people are actually thinking, hang about, they're just being lied to constantly, all the time.
I've just got a big image now of a big mixed race of... do you know what I mean? It's like, that's not so attractive.
So somebody in the channel mentions that the South Wales Circle, that Andy, who was on the show, Andy Russell, and he actually comes from South Wales, so they're trying to make a connection link there. This sometimes happens correctly and sometimes happens incorrectly. I'm not going to say whether or not he was or wasn't, but one could be led to believe that because a person is near there. I mean, Andy comes from Gwent, and Chepstow's not a million miles away, but it's not exactly on his front door either. So yes, interesting. And Julian Gibson says that wheat is over £200 a tonne this year, which is a record high, I think, for the proper price of wheat. So there's going to be a lot of very unhappy farmers out there if crop circles are appearing on wheat when it costs that, when they can get that much for it, because it's going to obviously piss them off quite a lot. What do you think? What do you think to that?
Well, there's a few farmers that are always been against it anyway, isn't there, really? I guess it's just going to up the ante now to make... Because there are a few farmers that you'd say are crop circle friendly, a few around the local area. When I say friendly, they're more tolerant.
Well, they've got used to it, haven't they?
Yeah, they don't mow them out as soon as they see them, do they?
No.
Yeah.
But there are some that do, so I guess if they put the prices up then maybe it turns some other people, especially in the age that we live in at the moment where everybody's skint. So farmers are just as skint, or, in relevance to them, I guess. So maybe, it might be interesting. You might start finding that. Was it last year, the year before, where that incident happened with that guy with the shotgun?
Yeah, and do you know what? I was coming on to that. I was coming on to that
2 years
point.
ago.
Yeah.
I think it was it 2 years ago? Yeah, it was 2 years ago, because we didn't do any last year.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody got chased out. They reckon that a farmer or somebody in the crop circle fired a shotgun at them when they came in. And it was all put down to, oh yes, it was just him shooting pigeons, but he just decided that when these people walked into a crop circle, that was a good time to start shooting at these theoretical pigeons that were so, you know, like fleeting all around the place like fucking bats around your head, you know. All of a sudden these pigeons are all there, you know, and it's like, oh, you know, let's just fire at them. Yeah, there's no connection at all between that timing, of course. But so we've had it put to us, or I've had it put to me when I was recently at an unspecified location, that the farmer that had some appear somewhere between Pewsey and Stonehenge, I think it was, somewhere down that way, is so pissed off that he is staking his fields out with night vision equipment, and he is a psychopath, and he will literally shoot CircleMakers this year.
What fields that?
Between Pewsey and Sutton?
I was given the name, but I although I can't actually remember it, I remember the name now. I said, well, I'm not going to.
Jesus, Matt, that's something that you should really remember.
Yeah, I think we'll remember that if that happens. But nobody's ever really been able to catch CircleMakers so far. But you know, with really good night vision equipment and yeah, exactly, and determination, you never know. They could possibly catch CircleMakers, but you know. I mean, is it really worth it? You know, let's kill a CircleMaker and spend the rest of my life in jail. You know, because I really think that, you know, them making a crop circle on my land is worth killing them for. Yeah, right. You know, that's what farming's about, isn't it? Really, it's about growing crop and making money. Yeah, right. No. Sorry, scrub that. No, what it's about is about keep off my land, otherwise I'll fucking kill you. All right, you motherfuckers. Yeah, that's what it's about for some farmers. Keep off my land because it's my fucking land. It's mine, all mine. Yeah, that's what it's about for some little prickos out there. But then, you know, what do you get when you fucking spend all of your life stuck in a bloody farm on your own, inbreeding with your neighbours, who, you know, and stuff like that, and what do you expect?
Get that bleeping machine out.
Yeah. Well, you know, this like it's only going to be the other farmers you've met and people at the local pub, isn't it? And it's like, you know, pretty soon that sort of like gene stock starts to kind of, you know, yeah, yeah. Like, you know, they came from Scotland 75 years ago, right, and like moved to Wiltshire. They've still got a Scottish accent, you know, and it's like like none of it's rubbed off on them at all, you know, and yeah. The fucking forehead is out here, and and I mean, it's like, you know, British beef, there's nothing wrong with it. Look at it, it's fucking made me like this. My fucking muscles are up here, and I have never gone out to a tractor to walk across a field in my fucking life. You know, and it's like, but you know, nothing to do with steroids and stuff we put in the cattle, though. Honest, Gov. But yeah. Anyway, so no controversy on this show ever.
Did you see Kerno's comment there?
What's that?
Think I'll stay in Cornwall, not having my bum peppered.
Oh, I don't know, you know, sautéed with a little white wine. Might be quite nice.
Quite tasty, yeah.
Yeah, just have it served back to you on a plate while still alive by a local yokel, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Wiltshire version. Yeah.
You gave that way too much thought there, Matt.
Well, maybe not enough, perhaps, but yeah.
Well, that question about, you know, farmers, do farmers get really annoyed and should you go out and do it in that? I think it's just...
Oh, sorry.
He's just
do you
got
want to turn it back up towards facing you because we're getting a load of room echo? It's okay. Yeah. Sorry, just checking the mics here. I was like, what the hell's that? It just went all very echoey then for a second.
It's me holding my throat.
It's going to be a carpet circle.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Go again. Go now.
What I was saying now, it's gone.
You plugged.
No, I'm carrying off. I'm joking. I was just saying that the
go now. We pay you for this.
there's a lot of you know, questions get asked about farmers and should we really be doing it in the fields because it upsets the farmers and stuff like that. And us personally, we know those certain type of farmers around the Avebury area and stuff that really don't like it and that. So we always really try to stay away from those areas because we don't really want to upset anybody. So we stick to the fields that we know. Generally, the farmers are okay with it. They know how to make money out of it or get whatever they need out of it and stuff like that. Yeah. You know, but I think in answer to that question, should you do it when the farmers get upset? You have to balance it up, don't you? Because if one person looks at a piece of art and says, well, that's crap, a lot of other people will just say, that's actually fantastic. It's the best thing I've ever seen in the world. So that one person's, you know, disapproval against 100 people's approval, you know, which one's right and which one's wrong there. Do you understand what I mean? A lot of people get positive things out of the crop circles and stuff like that. So if the farmer's really annoyed and fed up about it and stuff like that, but then 1,000 people visit it and they say, oh, it's the best experience I've ever had in my life, or, you know, it really touched me, that circle did. You know, it's sort of, I think the goodness outweighs the farmer's inconvenience, for a bit of crop. I mean, that one that you got up on the screen there, when you look at the area that's flattened in there, it's not a lot at all, really. You get more than that in wind damage and stuff like that, don't you, really?
It'll grow out.
And it'll grow out, as well, because a lot of the crop earlier in the season, especially in barley, is really springy. And by the end of the season, it's pretty much growing back out again, so there's nothing really lost. Just, you know, people just get all these wonderful things from it. So
it's good to challenge your beliefs, though, as well, isn't it? Like, some of these farmers have had the lands handed to them on a plate.
Yes.
For, you know, just free. Like, why shouldn't an artist with inspiration and natural ability not come along and have a little, you know?
Yeah, it's the crop that belongs to the farmer, but the land underneath it belongs
to the people.
People,
definitely.
Humanity.
People
everybody,
forget that,
Yeah. It's ours. It'll be there long after the farmer's gone.
It's interesting. I was listening to Radio 4 today, as one doesn't, because it's fucking inane snob value. But you know, what have you got? What have you got? You've got your CD you've listened to 725 times, but can't be bothered to take out of the fucking car. then you got Radio 1, which is like sort of boom chaka boom chaka boom chaka boom. I as black, eyes black, eyes black, eyes black, and boom chaka boom chaka eyes black, eyes black, eyes black, and it's like. Okay, whatever the fuck that was. Not that I'm racist, but it's just like some of this stuff is like, you know, it's like one man and he's fucking flicking his mouth like, you know, it's just really, I can't stand the stuff on Radio 1 at the moment. It's pathetic. So you got like Radio 4, you think, oh, fucking hell, let's go and see what they're doing over there, and it's the Archers.
Don't diss the Archers.
I was going to say, it's the fucking Archers. I mean, like, you know,
God.
You know, I could literally sort of
just
like...
Just we don't listen to the Archers.
You know, literally shove my hand up my bum and like find something soft and warm, pull it out and throw it at a mic, and it would probably do much better than the Archers, but...
The Archers is an advertisement sort of system for the...
Upper classes?
No, for the BBC. Listen, they always talk about current issues and that, and whatever opinion the BBC want you to have about a various thing, they write into the script.
Yeah, that happens with all of the soaps on telly, doesn't it?
Oh, it's infuriating. Yeah, it's just another media of getting their message across.
Yeah.
Like the what was that thing? The censors that came out recently. They were talking about it on the Archers. Oh, what have you filled in your censors and stuff? Like, you know, it's just jogging your memory or get on with your sensors. No, they do it all the time.
Isn't there some kind of mandate that comes out every week and to say, isn't there some kind of mandate that comes out weekly by the government to media
to include
groups?
It into the that sounds about right.
Yeah, I no doubt when September the 11th happened, you know, they'd recorded the Archers maybe sort of like 3 months in advance, and then they go, oh, did you see the Twin Towers that came down? But of course, it actually hadn't happened at the time. But you know, it's, the BBC.
They thought, what a strange storyline.
the BBC say, look, you know, we got this new story coming up in a couple of months. You just better get into the Archers, so that you know, just give you a bit of advance warning on that.
Building number 7.
Yeah.
Who was it that
it was
had
the BBC? They were doing a report in front of the building, and they're saying building number 7 has collapsed, and it was behind her.
Yes.
And then the signal got lost.
Yes.
No, there was something else. A band in the charts came out with a CD, and they had the Twin Towers on their album cover.
Oh, it was like a hip hop thing, wasn't it?
Yeah,
the Twin Towers and a sort of terrorist link to it. I don't know. Was it an aeroplane flying towards it? It was something really relevant. To
definitely. Yeah.
Well, even more mysterious than that, I think this is not taking the piss. The Lone Gunman, which was a spin-off from the X-Files, you know, the three guys that were like the sort of geeky investigators that you know, one of them looked a bit like me with my sort of goatee a few years ago, I think, and oops.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. What?
You carry on talking about
I see.
The comments.
Oh, I see. The Lone Gunman had an episode where somebody had flown aircraft into skyscrapers, and then it happened a couple of years after this program had been out, and that was part of the X-Files. So it's interesting how sort of reality follows fiction, a bit like Star Trek, you know, the stuff they talk about there, you know, that people actually went out and made devices that appeared on the Star Trek TV program. They actually tried to sort of invent them in real life, but yes.
Isn't it the other way around?
Well, it could
be. When people write books and make films, it's based on the actions and inspiration of things that have occurred, isn't it?
Well, yes, but in the case of Star Trek, I think things like mobile phones. Nobody had a portable mobile device where you could literally sort of go. You could speak to it. You could say like, to the ship, beam me up, and it would actually route the call to the ship. So it was actually a mobile phone type device, and it was voice activated. So yeah, and they're even talking about the possibility of transporters now. I think they're transporting people, but. Yeah, don't fancy my atoms being scrambled.
I think they've done it with the molecule recently. Was it on
Really?
Radio 4? Yeah.
Teleported the molecule.
Yeah, teleported a
Really?
molecule. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's the first sort of thing, isn't it?
We've been talking about that for ages, haven't we?
Oh dear.
Transporters.
Yeah, a well-would transport.
Scary thought.
Yeah.
No, cool. For your lunch
yeah,
break,
very
you can go to
cool.
Australia. I'll be back in 15 minutes. Where you go? Bombay Beach.
How are they going to control the visas on that then?
Oh, yeah, well, exactly. If you've got a portable transporter.
Transporters, Star Trek in disguise. But, yeah. Right, we've got Bin Laden being dead. Well, how are you going to get that into a crop circle?
No.
And are you going to do any crop circles about Bin Laden being dead? I
Just a
wonder.
big beard.
Yeah.
A big
messy beard.
bullshit sign.
Unix is happy to Skype in.
All right, okay. Well, we'll go to Unix in a second then. I've got a little bit of light entertainment if we want to go to something. And then what we'll do is right after the break, we'll cut straight into Unix. So we'll see if we can get him on the line whilst this is taking place. But what we should maybe show you for a second is a light entertainment piece I put together. Well, there's nothing funny about it. It's actually quite serious, but just about the Barge Inn. And they've redone the rooms in the Barge Inn now. And we've got the artist who created the mural in the back room of the Barge Inn. And he's explaining a little bit about his art. So let's see if I press this button whether it works or not. Have a blast at this.
Okay, we're basically here with Vince Palmer, who is the artist that a lot of people know your art, but maybe don't know the face behind the art. You actually did the ceiling of the back room of the pub, which is known as the Mecca of crop circles.
That's right, back in 1997.
97.
Yeah.
And do you sort of still get people contacting you a lot and praising you for your artwork?
Well, only when I'm in town, it seems. I don't know if it's got worldwide appeal so much as I've recognised.
Well, I think
it does, but I don't get to hear about it.
people all over the world know it, but they're not so sure who the artist is. So now they get to see one for one of the first times, I suppose, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to take us in and show us your art, and you can explain to us some of the secrets?
Let these good people go in before us, shall we?
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Yes. And you can show us the secrets of what people don't often
secrets.
spot.
Oh no, I can't give the secrets away.
Yeah. Well, let's see what we can get out of you. So here we go. This is the Mecca temple. Okay, so this is your artwork. Do you want to sort of show us a little bit?
Well, basically, the centrepiece is Barbary Castle.
Yeah.
There's a formation that came down in '91 at Barbary Castle.
Right.
And I basically asked as many people as I could what formation they would like to see in the centre of the whole thing. And Barbary Castle was the one that stood out as the favourite.
Right.
So it was the first one that was kind of had the geometry that stood out against simpler formations that had come before. You had simple circles and dumbbells, and then this formation came up, and people were like in awe, and there was some interesting accounts of what happened that night. And then the four elements that are around it are based on the Wiccan four directions: earth, wind, air, and fire.
Right.
And for earth, you've got the green man. For air, you've got the moon.
So that's the moon over there.
For the fire, you've got the sun.
Fire's the sun.
And actually, you've got the trumpet, the air, sorry. And so the water, I decided to go with the moon, because the moon influences the ocean.
Right. Okay.
So that's four directions. And it's also like the trumpeters in the Revelations.
Okay.
Yeah, that was another element that people might not know. And so, you got the Eastfield. I think the DNA formation came in the Eastfield, didn't it?
The DNA came in the Eastfield. Yes, I think it did.
So, and you got Woodborough Hill. And you might see there's a little addition next to it now.
Woodborough Hill's got an addition.
Yes, if you look right next to it.
Can you show us?
Yeah. This is an addition.
Ah.
Little cow that's having a kind of interesting time.
So they had a problem. They cut away some of the pictures, so you had to come in especially.
Yes.
And redo it.
Well, this wall, there was a wall here before,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
And this wall's gone. Because they put this RSJ in, the plastic went up halfway up the wall.
Yeah.
So my intention was to come here. What I was asked to do was to repair the damage.
Yeah.
But what I decided to do was update the mural.
Right.
If I come over here, you'll see the major update.
Okay.
I always felt Silbury Hill was the weakest element of the mural. So now you see an update, and that's it. And I got with Polly, because I was staying at Polly's when I came down here, and we were talking about Andy Collins's feeling that there's a connection with the constellation Cygnus. He feels is connected to Silbury Hill,
And that's an Andy Collins sort of connection, is
that's
it?
correct.
Yeah,
And and a lot of people are endeared with the fact that there's water that settles at the base of Silbury Hill whenever it's raining, and so I've put that in there. And there's a couple of swans, because swans do actually, like to nest near Silbury Hill, so you can see them at the base.
Ah, I can see. Yeah, you've got to go down to the bottom.
Yeah.
There's some details in there. Yeah.
And you've got another, it's amber gambler, which some people, they're not flares, and they sometimes appear in this
Is that
area.
the asteroid-looking type thing that's up there?
Yes, if you think that's an asteroid. No, I'm talking here, the red. Amber gambler.
Oh, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, amber gamblers is a pet name we gave to lights.
I got
that
you.
appear
So
on
that's
the
a little
horizon.
hidden one there. Yeah.
I guess so. And another addition that people may not be aware of is there was a crack on the ceiling up here, and I didn't want to try and have to match the black of the sky, so
That looks like a cigar-shaped UFO.
that would be it. And I had the boss I used to work for when I worked for Fordbrook Furniture.
Right.
He wasn't interested in anything esoteric at all, esoteric even.
Yeah.
And he told me the account of him going to work, came over from Devices, and he spotted an object just like that in the morning when he was coming to work to open up the shop.
Wow.
So in honour of that story, I decided to put it in there, and it takes care of the crack that was there. And then Andrew Collins also talks about, I think it's a jackdaw, and it's like an albino jackdaw that's
Right.
spotted in Avebury, lives in Avebury.
Yeah.
So I put that in there too. 'Cause
It's an
always a-
albino jackdaw. There he is. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that if you didn't know, you'd kind of wonder what they are. And now we're getting from the person that actually designed this ceiling exactly what the secrets are. Are you going to reveal all the secrets, or are you going to leave some secrets?
I'm not going to reveal all of
Not
them.
going to reveal all the secrets.
Some people think there's 3 aliens in this mural, but
You have to find them.
there's at least 2.
Okay.
And there's also a black arrow. You remember the black darts that you were seeing on some of the photographs?
Yes.
Well, there's a black dart in this mural too.
Are those like the what do they?
It looks like almost like a piece of corn, isn't it? It's like a wishbone kind of shaped one.
I'm just trying to think what they call them now. They've got a name for them, haven't they? I can't remember. Jose Escamiles takes them. And what do they call them when they see them against the sun? Is that it? They see them against the sun.
Yeah, is it?
Yeah.
Well, I've seen their photographs of crop circles, and they've seen floating in the frame of the shot of a crop circle.
Yeah, I can't remember what they call, but we'll put it into the thing.
There's one there.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying where it is.
Okay, and also it's worth noting as well that you actually align some of these things with the areas that they actually point towards. So
most of the elements that you see up there are as close as I could get to where they lay in the landscape.
yeah,
So you got Stonehenge is basically in this direction.
Is in that direction. Yeah.
And as you see, the stones stand upright when you're looking at it from this perspective.
Yeah.
Because some people have been under it and say, why did you make the stones go up and look stupid on the ceiling? And I'll say, well, stand back here and it'll make sense.
Yeah.
So this is an addition above the door on the exit.
Oh yeah, that's new.
The swallow formation.
Because that's quite recent. And
it's more, I think it's about 2004, and this is going back to 97 in total. So
yeah, so 97 was the original, and 2004 is the addition.
right, yeah. It was easier because the pub was closed. It was easier to get up there and put something in that spot.
Yeah.
And I think it's more complete now. It feels like it's all integral now.
The Woodborough Hill facing where Woodborough Hill and Pict Hill would be.
Yeah.
Stonehenge itself down there.
There's a couple of lights in some of the formations if you look close enough.
A couple of lights, balls of light. Can I see 3 balls of light over there?
You tell me.
Right, okay. So some balls of light. But I mean, you get massive reaction to this when people see it. They think that it's it's an excellent thing to have in the pub, and it looks like you've carried on the tradition so that generations for the future will be able to see it.
I believe they have a 20-year contract. So
Excellent.
That's fantastic.
So your work will be here for quite some time and inspiring generations to
Nice
come.
to leave some kind of legacy. That's a positive one.
Yeah. Excellent. What do you think about the new lighting they put around the edge? Do you think that works?
I think I like it overall. It brings out some of the imperfections in the plasterwork and that, but overall it's exciting. I think it lifts it at night. I've not seen it at night yet, but it'll be interesting to see the difference it makes. I'm concerned it doesn't bleach out some of the formations, but overall.
What are these dolphins doing up here? You know, behind you, I can actually see some dolphins.
Well, the dolphins are there because you've got the moon is representing the water because it affects the tides.
Yes.
And also, I thought there was an Atlantis connection with the dolphins.
Right. Excellent. There's the galaxy formation up there.
Yeah, because some people are, I've gone based on the major interpretations of some of the crop circles, so I've put them in there as what people think they represent.
Right. Okay. These birds, swallows, anything to do with the swallows? What do they represent?
Well, it's just that I wanted to not just focus on the crop circle phenomenon and also the Neolithic history of the area. I wanted to also just put the wildlife in so anyone can appreciate it.
Excellent.
And brings more life to it,
Yeah. There used to be an aircraft somewhere. Is it still here?
It's still behind they've had to put an emergency lighting.
Oh, so the aircraft's being
still behind
hidden.
it.
Oh, he's hidden behind it. Yeah.
Around, you'll see it.
Let's make sure. There we are. So he didn't lose the aircraft.
Busty's old faithful, isn't it?
Is that meant to represent Busty Taylor flying over the crop circles?
Yeah, well, some people didn't understand why it was in there, and I had to explain that, going over the crop circles is part of the experience, and I've done that myself, and it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So I wanted to honour that too.
Is the old barge as it used to be?
Yeah, and I've kept that the same in honour of the original.
Yeah, and now the barge is looking slightly different because we've lost the old barn there. And is that supposed to be a Jaguar car, which was belonging to June and Adrian that used to be here?
Yeah.
He had a Jaguar, didn't he? Yeah.
And I've even stayed in that caravan that you see behind.
Ah, right.
Before I left to go to America for 12 years.
Right.
Yeah. Stayed in there. Many of us have.
And you, is it safe to say that you went to the States and sort of married somebody who was into esoteric stuff and aliens and UFOs?
Yes.
Yeah, she used to do an online webpage.
Yes.
So here we got Vince Palmer reenacting how he used to live quite a few years ago. He's having a game of pool. He was a big pool player in the past, made it to the pool finals. So he used to look up at this ceiling quite a lot.
Oh yeah, Mr. Vince beating me after 10 years away. He still bloody beat me. Just goes to show how crap I am, I suppose. But yes, we've actually got our guest on the line now, and we can probably go across to him and see what he's got to say. Now this is Unix, who's in the chat channel. So can you hear us, Unix? You're supposed to say yes. Hang on, sorry, I didn't fade your fader up then. Try again.
Hello.
There he is. Yeah, sorry, it's me then. I had you on cue up. I could hear you, and then I turned the cue off and forgot to slide the fader up. Great. Okay. Can you hear him? Can you hear what Unix is saying?
Yep.
Just about. Yeah, the guests can hear you. Okay, right. What were you going to say then, Mr. Unix?
Basically, I sort of found a connection between, a subject which has been very little discussed in the actual crop circle area. It's about secret societies and the connection to crop circles. Basically, I looked into the way the researchers are sort of behaving in their conferences, as if Glickman, for example, looked like if he was a high-ranking person in some sort of society, literally. After that, basically, I do believe that the actual researchers who believe that alien made actually know it's man-made. That they, I'm not 100% positive, but I think the actual researchers know that it's a man-made sort of phenomenal or made art, basically. Also, I think it's not the motive isn't really money. One of the motives is money, but the other thing I noticed was I think they're trying to protect an idea to protect a faith or a belief in some sort of society. So what I basically found was, do you know the Society of the, made by Mr. George King, a taxi driver?
The Ethereans, the Ethereus Society.
Ethereus
Yes.
Society, yeah.
Yeah, nice people, but yeah, very strange beliefs. But lovely
I might
people.
be wrong on it. I might be wrong on this, but well, Susan Taylor is one of the considered the members of. She's an Etherean, yeah, and she made one of the biggest productions to crop circles, I think it was, called What on Earth.
What on earth is going on?
This location in America is it's in Hollywood, California. The actual society they've got a lodge there, and basically that's it. I did post on the Facebook group on the actual website. They had a group called the Ethereus Society on the Facebook. So I posted the question. So what are your views on crop circles? And basically I got it here. Basically they say they believe that it's not man-made and it's some force which is either external or internally inside the earth already, which is making it. So they obviously have a belief in something to protect, you see.
Right.
I haven't got really much information on it, you see, but when they do their rituals, they have a very sort of very Freemasonic symbolism. The symbols are good, but they're used in a sort of bad way. They can be used in a negative view as well.
Right.
So there's a few connections between that. And I think this is one of the societies which, one of the ideas which they're trying to protect, you see. Otherwise, if they don't protect that idea, then it just goes to mess. The society goes to mess after that. This sort of the alien belief starts to decrease over there with UFOs and things. So I know they believe in UFOs and things. So,
yes.
I mean.
Have you ever seen any of their channeling stuff where they where Sir George King would go into trance and he would channel the
there's like this sort of I have, yeah, it's sort of clips on the internet, but you can sort of see how deeply they are inside that faith, you see.
Yeah.
How I'm not saying every Ethereum is sort of brainwashed into it, but it's sort of like a society type of thing, a ranking sort of style.
Well, it boasts quite a lot of members apparently. They claim, and what I find quite funny is that George King himself, being a taxi driver that channeled alien beings, and the Ethereans, he would actually get these people come into his body, and then he would sort of say, "I'm now going to get them coming into my body," and he'd be like, "Here they are." And he'd be like, sort of like close his eyes, and he'd go like, "Hello, ladies and gentlemen, how are you?" And the thing is, all of his followers, now they weren't channeling, when they were sort of going to these places to put prayer power energy into the devices, because they stand there and they do all these things with, we're putting the prayer energy into a box and things. It's all very, good fun. But they all used to talk like that then, like they were Shakespearean actors, and we have got to get the prayer energy into the device now. And they would all talk like that as well, but they weren't channeling. They weren't fucking channeling. They were just like people who putting on the fucking voice, sort of mimic the channels. But I mean, what's all that about?
I'm not too sure, because there's a possibility that big names are connected to the societies.
Yes.
I don't have proof of that, but there is a possibility that they could be connected to some society or societies working together on the idea that it's alien-made.
Yes, well...
But I did see a picture of George King, which looked very familiar when he was in his... I couldn't find it on the internet. I saw it, but I couldn't find it. Which looked very familiar to Aleister Crowley with his crown.
Oh, but you can't...
And with the ball in his hand.
Well, you can't say that bald people, all look like Aleister Crowley. Otherwise, I'd fucking, be getting there pretty soon.
No. His uniform looked the same, so...
Ah, right, okay.
With the sort of robes and the sort of crown and the...
So you're saying that the... Sorry, mate. Are you saying that the crop circle designs are just hijacked by certain individuals then? Like that secret society, you were saying they're trying to perpetuate a myth, so they...
the alien believers, basically. I don't know how else to call them, but the ones who believe that the alien made.
Right.
And they're not doing it just for money. They're doing it to protect a faith or some sort of
absolutely, yeah.
idea.
That stuff kind of goes on all the time, doesn't it? Really.
Well, they're trying to perpetuate the myth to
to sell their particular
more people
illusion.
believe in aliens.
Or whatever their particular agenda is.
Oh, I see.
I think it's a lot.
Agenda, yeah.
I think there's a lot of groups out there like the Raelians, the Claude Rail, who I can't remember what his background was. Was he a racing car driver or something like that, or something? And then he decided that he discovered his connections with the aliens and how he was a channel for them. And they're a very large organisation. They've got tens of thousands of members, and I think he wanted to be the first person to clone himself. So he's actually set up, like in South America, secret cloning labs or something, where he was going to be the first person to have cloned himself illegally against international law or something. But interesting characters.
But sort of like I said, when Glickman has this sort of holiday camps, I don't think they're actually holiday camps as such. They're sort of recruitment centres in a way as well. But I'm not saying there's a possibility that maybe he's trying to convince people into this sort of recruit people into societies as well at the same time.
Somebody was asking, could I put the mural up on YouTube, please? And yes, the mural video with Vince will go up on YouTube, and it'll actually be in high def as well, so should be able to get that. And somebody else is saying, well, I don't know whether we should say that actually.
What is it?
If you're in the channel, you'll sort of make certain connections with certain things we're talking about and certain guests and all sorts of things. But I won't read them out on the air. But Darthy's got something he's saying. He says, I'm not sure how much the crop circles integrate with the Freemasons. I think the opposite, says Darthy. People make art, but maybe there is a subconscious effect. So what do you think about that, Unix?
Not so much Freemasonry, because they do use the symbolism of Freemasonry, and I think they use the same system as it, but not so much Freemasonry. I think it's sort of like a branch of it, or Sir George King was a Freemason and he decided to start his own society.
Yeah, you're assuming he was a Freemason rather than
I'm just assuming from the pictures I've seen, which look very similar to the robes of Aleister Crowley and all this sort of thing as a master.
Yeah. I was on about this earlier on in the week. I'm going to do a YouTube video on dictators. And it's interesting you're saying about people wearing the same sort of clothing as each other, but I think people do pick up on this stuff. They kind of see the religious garb that's worn by the sort of Roman Catholic Church and the Christian churches, and then they say, oh, look at the Lord Mayors and look at the Freemasons, and these are obviously powerful people. So if we wear the same clothes as they're wearing, it automatically gives us the rights and privileges of these people because we appear to be so up there with the same sort of societal figures. I suppose it works for them in publicity terms and propaganda terms, but whether they've actually got connections or not, I'm not too sure.
Yeah, but fashion comes from attraction as well. Like, if you're a taxman or something, you've usually got a bald head and a briefcase. Do you know what I mean? You don't have to be involved in a secret society to look like one. Sometimes it's your alter ego that that can make you dress the way that you dress. Do you understand?
Well, a suit and tie and all that, is very conformist, isn't it? And Freemasons always wear suits and ties when they go in the lodge. So they're not wearing very much different. Apart from the apron they wear and the gloves. But there's
a lot of members in this society, so you've got to really change their idea that they're man-made. But obviously they're not going to conform to that, are they?
But what does that matter?
And plus, Susan Taylor making the biggest production. So.
Well, she's got loads of money because she was starring in adverts for soap. She was like the Maureen Lipman in the UK. Used to do fairy adverts, was it?
Oh yeah.
Fairy adverts, and Suzanne Taylor was famous in this very same way for being the face of fairy, or some whatever company they've got out there. I am the fairy face. For the soap advert. So no matter where she went, she would always be like, "Oh, look, it's the fairy woman, it's the fairy woman." You know, and it's like that was Suzanne Taylor. And, you know, she's very well known for that, made a lot of money.
I mean, I could be wrong, you know. I could be wrong and I could make assumptions and things, but there was a good connection to it, you see. So.
Yes, no, that's absolutely fine. I was just going to say she's made her money from doing the adverts, you know, but whether or not maybe she got the job because she's a bloody Scientologist or an Etherean or something like that, and then they do get promoted in these industries, you know. It's like be a Freemason, get a nice job working in a bank or the police. You know, or rise up in government or something like that. You know, and it's maybe there were great trials in the 50s about people that were connected with secret societies, and you know, with the Reds under the bed and all that sort of stuff, McCarthyism, and they were saying that Hollywood was absolutely full to the brim of communists and left-wingers and things like this, and so much so.
Yeah, I'm sure it is, yeah.
People boycotted going to the cinema. They wouldn't watch cinema films because they said they're all made by the fucking Reds and they're full of propaganda to make people sort of red. Even Star Trek and Paramount Studios were criticised for being, utopian, like a society where you don't have money and you all just kind of get paid the same and you do it because you love it, you know, for the good of the community rather than, you know, like the capitalist role model for society. So it's kind of interesting. A lot of people said like those shows were influencing the minds of the young. Yeah.
Don't you think it's
I quite
inevitable
liked them.
though? It's inevitable, isn't it? People like the Freemasons, Knights Templars, Scientologists, they recruit the most powerful people, don't they? The people that are the best educated, that earn the most money. Like the calibre of person that are in these societies are, you know, upper class, if you like, to some extent. Like, of course they're going to... it's about, you know, scratching backs and all that.
Yeah. You've got to go closer to the mouth.
I'll be kissing it if I go any closer.
No, you go closer, otherwise...
I don't know where it's been.
Let's just stop the room echo if we can, yeah. But,
do you know what I mean, though? It's like, it's inevitable. It's common sense, really, if you think about it.
Yes. So, I guess got anything to say on that? And maybe, you know, what do you think about secret society symbols turning up in crop circles, our guests? Do you think that there have been some like that?
Yeah, absolutely, of course, in the past.
Yeah.
But I'd say that the actual circle makers, they're into the same sort of stuff, really, and sometimes they see a particular symbol and pop it in the field, and I'll see the cat pyramid with the razor light coming out of it. I can't remember what year that was, but that was definitely Masonic. You know, but it doesn't mean the Masons put it there. It just means that somebody who knows that symbol...
Bring it to your attention.
And put it down there.
I think it's important to say as well, it's not necessarily that the circle makers are trying to say, oh, that's good. They might just be trying to kind of show people to kind of like wake up to this symbol. What does it mean? You know, why are these people using this symbol?
Yeah, look it up, see what it's all
about. The symbols can be used for negative and a positive reason. They can be
the
same
they're
symbol.
neutral. It
depends on the person making it, doesn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And the people reading it, like the Freemasons, the all-seeing eye on the top of the cat pyramid, people always equate that to, you know, the Freemasonry, but it's like the symbol of God, isn't it? The all-powerful, all-watching, and because the Freemasons use it, they know it's a powerful symbol, and they just kind of use it for their own, personal agenda. It's just if you understand the knowledge behind the symbols, you can use them, like you said, for light or dark, you know?
Yeah.
Matt, what are you doing?
Yeah, I was going to say, I always look at crop circles with my 3D glasses on. Then they start to make sense. What people have never realised is that, you know, they don't just encode them so that they stand out, with the lay patterns. If you actually wear 3D glasses, they actually hit you in the face. Yeah. You actually, like
holograms.
You look at the crop circle connector, and you've actually got to like duck out of the way to kind of look at the next page, you know, before they. So
Yeah, 3D. That's old hat.
Yeah, we're in 4D now. You wear the glasses inside your mind. Yes.
Well, you might not be far from the truth there. Some people would, agree with that, wouldn't They go into a crop circle and have a fourth dimensional experience where they go out of their body.
Well,
Some people have explained that, and I thought you just fell asleep is what you mean. But some other people,
You don't know.
No, I'm joking.
Anything's
There's just one
possible.
person that sprung to mind. That was all, and that she was like that.
I think a lot of maths and science years ago was stuff that couldn't be put in the mainstream because it was classed as heretical, and that you'd get sort of put under house arrest if you talked about the planets going round the sun rather than the planets going around the Earth.
Not on the back of a giant turtle.
Yeah, and I mean, so I think a lot of secret societies, some of their sort of background is to kind of have a free and independent discussion on science. And so some of these symbols, the magical symbols and the secret society symbols, they sometimes come across, in books on the occult, and but yeah, they will appear in the fields because I think the universal qualities of interest that the branches of science and maths that they represented, but doesn't mean that the people who make the crop circles actually even understand what they're about.
That's true. Some do though.
Yeah.
There's some designs and patterns out there are put there very deliberately to mean a specific thing, and sometimes the people miss the point. But they get they miss the intended point. Yeah, like the pants.
Don't mention
the
pants.
They pick up other important things that maybe the people that made the circles didn't even consider. I find that really quite interesting.
They're open to interpretation as well, aren't they?
Completely.
Whatever
Yeah.
they want to get out of them, really, as long as it's
But that's
positive.
back to what art is, isn't it? An inspiration.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
It is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Your own interpretations. So they're unique to everybody.
And Hedge Dread says the Church of the Subgenius. Yes, well, luckily there's you never have more than one symbol with the Church of the Subgenius because it's all just Bob, and there is only one symbol. So no, Oscar's still there. You're still there, aren't you, Oscar? Unix.
Is that?
I've done it again. Damn.
What have you done?
Matt?
Yes, he's still there.
I think he's been cut off, actually, Matt.
Oh right, okay.
It's Bob.
We'll try and get him back.
Yeah.
He's busy.
Yes, Oscar. Unix. Yes. Are you still there?
No, he's not. Hang on, let me disconnect and try and reconnect.
Right. Okay.
Matt, you're plonker sometimes.
I know. Yes, the disconnection problem is a real problem. Sorry about that.
Oh, he's
There
back.
he is.
Yes,
There's Bob.
Unix. Oh, he's gone again. Oh well, we'll get him back now. Try again, but yeah. So yeah, it's interesting the design ideas of you ever put that sort of stuff into your designs. You don't have to mention which ones if you don't want to, but specific mathematical things.
Not so much the mathematics. Not really into mathematics particularly, but
Just into, what's the word?
well, the symbolism.
Representation, yeah. What the symbolism is behind it, yeah.
Yeah, there's certain designs that we've done to mean a very specific thing. And grateful that most of them were picked up, weren't they?
Yeah.
With the intended reason. But then you sometimes read the reports from the researchers and they say, what was that formation? That the pie one. Do you remember that? It was actually the pie, which is fantastic. I really like that design. It's very clever. But the person who interpreted it said, "Oh look, it's pi. Aren't I amazing for working it out?" And you just think, well, that person, by them saying it has to be an extraterrestrial force, is actually saying, well, the researcher thought it was pi, but he didn't think that the person who made it could have actually thought of pi, because pi is it's an established thing, isn't it? People know it, and there are people in the know that do that circle, that put that symbol or that equation or whatever into the circle.
Yeah.
And the researchers always think, oh, well, I worked it out. What it represents is the sun going around the moon going around the earth and the earth going around the sun and stuff like that. And you just think, well, if you worked it out, you're a human being. Why couldn't the human being have put it in there, have known exactly what they were putting in there,
Which they were.
Which they were. So yes, we definitely do that. Not all of them have been read the way we intended, but they, read in their own unique way, which is fine.
Yes. Well, yeah, he is turned up. So, Unix, are you there? Unix, can you hear us? No, he's not responding. So we can hear him. I can hear his room, but he can't hear us. So there you go. Well, anybody in channel got any channels? Anybody in channel got any channels? Yeah, are you all channeling tonight? Got any questions for our guests? We can put them to them. But yes, going back through the shows we've had, recap, we've had Poppy Paulos. Do you remember that one? Poppy Palin. Yes, but her name is, isn't her name is Poppy Paul?
Palin, isn't it?
Yeah, Poppy Palin. Poppy Palin.
As in Michael Palin.
Oh, right, okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Right. Well, maybe she's got a slightly different name somewhere else. Then I don't know. But did you catch that show, guests? Did you follow that one?
No, unfortunately we didn't.
Andy.
So we did meet Poppy recently.
Andy. Not Thomas. Andrew Collins. Did you catch that show?
No.
Haven't caught that one. Did you catch?
I can make this very short for you.
Okay. You haven't seen any.
We haven't seen any.
You haven't seen Agent T.
Didn't see the Agent T one, no.
No.
Busy
Circle
working.
School. Have you seen that one?
We saw Agent D.
Right. Yes.
We saw Bob and Fanny.
Yes.
And that's all we've seen.
Yeah. Agent D was quite funny, wasn't he?
Very funny.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. David Icke, fucking wanker, fucking, what's it about? Yeah, that was a good one. Like that one. Yeah. Do you want to ask this one?
Yeah, sure. Guys, Roger CCC says, Debbie and Lee, what is the craziest interpretation of a formation you have heard or read?
That's got to be the pants, hasn't it?
Oh, the pants. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, well remembered.
By a certain individual.
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a big pair of Y-fronts put in a field. It was close to Stanton Bernard, wasn't it? Around that way.
Mm.
And it was quite clearly a pair of pants. It was actually in the Sun newspaper.
As a pair of pants.
As a pair of pants, and the headline read, "The Sun are brilliant for puns." What did it say?
Brief encounters.
Brief encounters. Yeah, which was just genius. But then a certain
Which is what
researcher,
we're hoping for.
a certain researcher who will not say Glickman, said that the pants was actually one of the most significant crop circles of that year, because it represented the Y chromosome and also a headdress of the
piece of something.
Of the ancient Egyptian pharaohs, and in his opinion, it was one of the most significant formations of the year.
Mm.
Which actually is quite sad in that particular year was some very stunning, real good formations, you know. Mm. And the pants was just
a bit of laugh.
A sort of a joke, yeah, to put humour back in there.
Well, there's still a message there, isn't there?
Still a message, yeah.
I mean,
don't take it so seriously.
Was it a headdress worn by Queen Bummy Karkar or something?
Bummy Karkar?
Yeah.
No, I will.
So, Unix, are you back now? Can you hear us?
He's gone.
He's gone again.
Back.
Oh dear. Yeah. Sorry, I heard him for a second, but there we are. Okay, well, sorry, so we couldn't get you back through there then. Is a question in channel from Roger CCC?
Yeah, just read that.
Oh, you've done it?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
Sorry.
Where was you?
I was listening to their response, but I forgot that you asked the question. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah. That's the only question I can see.
Mm. So Jargenial says mine was the nuclear one. I assume that's the craziest interpretation of the formation that they've heard.
Was it?
Yeah. And P Staker says from pants to tampon. How do you make that connection then? Where's the tampon?
Maybe the pants will evolve into a tampon.
Yeah. Goodness. So it looks like I suppose a tampon would look a little like a stick of dynamite, though, if you're not careful. So it could be misinterpreted. Interpreted, yes. Yeah. So, okay, we've got the other shows. I'm just thinking now. We've got you haven't seen Francesco Grassi from Italy, and I'll have to give you copies of these because you don't have the internet where you are, do you? No, sadly. So. Okay, well, yes, we need to get some questions in, folks. Otherwise, it's just gonna be me struggling on here. Have you got any questions, Agent S?
Not really, to be honest.
Put you on the spot. It's one of those this week. I'd really like to get some other guests on the show. So if your name is Rob Irving, And if you happen to be a friend of Rob Irving or
Steve Alexander.
Rob Irving, Rob Irving, yes, and people that have sometimes walked past a house with a name black and it called Rob Irving, then perhaps you'd like to come on the show, Rob Irving. So yeah, okay, Sunday Girl, yes. Which CCs are you most proud of making? Which ones?
We do know that we haven't got masks on here.
Yeah.
or anything
Okay.
to hide our faces. So
Just tell them you did Mill Kill or something. You'd be all right then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The most proud one we did was the Nazca desert drawings that we did
Yeah.
way back in 2,000 years ago. No,
2,000 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
The real Nazca desert drawings, yeah.
That was us.
I'm just making it up. I can't really say.
Can't
All
say
of them, there you go.
Can't say with the masks
All of
off, you
All
see.
of them, yeah.
It's
Under the White Horse, Stanton St Bernard,
A little bit
Mill
awkward.
Hill.
Yeah.
Oh, look, we've changed your
Eastfield.
background.
What is the worst conditions you have worked in? Now we can answer that question because we were fortunate enough to go out to Germany. We was invited out there by a group of people that were in the process of doing a protest, wasn't it? From what was it? An area where they lived is outstanding natural beauty, and
They wanted to put a road through it.
yeah, they wanted to stick a big autobahn straight through the middle of it. So these guys were trying to protest against that.
Bring attention to the
Bring
area.
attention to the area, and what they were doing was investing in all sorts of land art projects, and these involved big stone labyrinths and other works of art that were just dotted around the countryside. And one of the gentlemen is called Eckhard, lovely man. He came over to England, to Wiltshire, to discover the crop circles for himself, and he met various people down at the Barge Inn, and who told him the truth, and he was then linked to us to go out to Germany and make some land art for him, and we made 3. So in answer to the question, what is the worst conditions we've been in? They were the worst, but also the best, because it was absolutely hammering it down on that last one.
Yeah.
Absolutely hammering it down, and thunder and lightning, and we were just out there in this crop circle, soaking wet, really tired, but just
Absolutely loving it.
absolutely loving the scenery of the lightning coming down and the thunder and the rain and everything. It was just absolutely fantastic. Had a completely magical time.
To
And
the
of course
worst
you
and
could
the
have- you
best.
could
So it was the worst
frazzled.
and the best experience.
Yes. P Staker is saying no mask next time, Matt.
Does that mean he wants to come on again?
Oh, right, okay. Or, mate, this is not a mask, right? It's it looks this bad all the time, I'm afraid.
There was a question there, sorry, from Jorginho. Did your guests believe in alien-made circles before they became enlightened?
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
we did.
Absolutely, yeah.
We did.
So
Yes.
you do not believe in aliens any longer?
Nope.
No,
Oh.
we were actually enlightened shortly. Well, it was the year 2000, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Come down to the area and found a few crop circles around West Kent, Longbarrow,
Yeah.
Silbury Hill area.
Hadn't encountered them before, really, had we? So
No.
we sort of bought into it straight away.
Yeah.
Well, it's because the
believing.
people we met inside the
Yeah,
circles, wasn't
yeah.
it? They were convincing, wordsmiths, some of them. They were really clever in what they said, really
Yeah,
convincing.
but we're open to anything anyway.
So
Yeah.
you came in and out of their belief within, the same year?
Same year,
Yeah, same year.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
We then ended up going down to the barge
Yeah.
and around that area,
Meeting lots of different people.
meeting lots of different people, and one person in particular, mentioning no names.
I say, if you're open to all sorts of things, I've got some whips and chains in the cupboard, but
Bless you.
yeah, right.
So it's safe to say then you catch on quite quick.
Yes, yes, we did. I mean, the thing is we were invited then, when we were talking about the reality behind them, we were invited then to go out to experience them ourselves.
And, of
And so we
course,
eagerly
yeah.
snapped up the opportunity, had a wicked experience, fantastic experience,
Mm.
and then knew, then you've been part of it. And then what you do after the circle was made, we looked on the crop circle connector and stuff like that, and saw what everybody wrote about it, and what they all wrote about the one that we made, so we knew that it was definitely man-made.
Yeah.
They were saying all of the things about the alien connections and all that stuff. So
We
knew
knew
then.
categorically that it was man-made.
So from the time that you found out about circles to believing in them to not believing that they're alien made, at what point then did you physically design one and lay it out?
It was 4 years later.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, we made one. I got the bug for it, and we kept visiting them, but tried to design a few, but they just looked rubbish. And then it was 4 years later we actually thought, right,
designed it and went out and
let's
did
go
it.
out and do it. And I've got to say, the very first one I ever made, you wasn't involved in that one, was absolute crap.
That's why it was crap.
It was
'cause I wasn't
really,
involved.
that's what's crap.
So what was the timeline then between the first one and your first great one?
How quickly did we start learning how to do it? I'd say the next season they started coming. Then we started experimenting.
So in your 5th year then, of being in the
So
area?
they're still,
Fifth year of being
they're
in the
still
area,
evolving as well. They're getting better, aren't they?
Yeah, and each time we do them,
They get better.
they get better. It's like you
anything
learn
else.
to, you experiment, don't you? And
That's
you think, what
quite
was
a
it look like
long... I'm almost intrigued. Well, I am intrigued. It's like to
A long process, isn't it?
like to actually get involved 4 years later after sussing it out. I mean,
Yeah, but you got to understand, we were going through things in our own private lives at the time. I mean, crop circles were interesting, but they weren't important at the time because, various things were happening and, they weren't in the forefront of our mind. But when all those things were finished with and over and done with, then the interest came back again, and I actually thought, because I'm quite artistic naturally, ever since I was a kid, I used to like drawing and stuff like that, I still do that. And then to actually do a piece of art that could be put in a field
large scale.
on massive scale where people can walk inside it. It was just too tantalising. And then when we done it, and the good vibes that we were getting from it, well, it just pulls you in. It's just nice to know that other people are really appreciating it.
Kind of escalates then, and that's why have done so much, so many years up since then.
Don't they say that
once you get into it,
artists are only famous when they sort of die, but then when you look at crop circles, that as soon as it's done, the day after it's photographed, and it's global. Millions of people will look at that, or hundreds of thousands, I don't know. I mean, when you look at the Crop Circle Connecting, you see how many times that page has been hit. It's tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands that look at it, and you think, what other form of art can be seen by that many people instantly like that?
If it's in a newspaper, I mean, there's millions of newspapers sold, isn't there? I mean, how many people are looking at...
We've had them on the telly.
Yeah.
Country File.
Country File, yeah.
My mum phoned me up to say, "Hey, one of your designs on Country File." And I turned it on, and sure enough, they were all stood in there talking about it. I was blown away, absolutely blown away. But yeah, I don't want to sound egotistical, and if I'm being honest,
go on.
Yeah, for a little bit. I do get a thrill out of the fact that people are enjoying it. When you read bad reviews and people actually say, "Oh, they didn't have a good experience," and that, it makes you feel a little bit. But the majority of people have. Good feelings,
it's hardly ever happened.
No, it's hardly ever happened.
But I think that's very honest, and I can't see anybody not understanding that
it's
feeling.
It's human nature, isn't it? Yeah, you're proud of what you've done.
Yeah.
You're giving enjoyment to other people. Why can't you
enjoy that?
Yeah, some people say, we shouldn't be selfish, and sometimes I just think, well, it's all right to be a little bit, egotistical for a bit. Yeah, why not?
One big circle maker I was speaking to this afternoon, who says he can't come out much this year because of this money situation going on and lack of it in his personal life. He said to me that it's a bit of a shame that now that people are kind of learning it's a little bit more man-made, what they're doing is they're kind of attacking the circles, and they're going, oh look, you can see the damage in them now, you can see the skull marks, you can see how there's metre wide board marks, and you can see the lines. So they're actually using the information which we've given them to help them understand that this is what you look for in a man-made circle. But they're now going, see, man-made, oh that's crap now, that's crap, instead of just going, hang on a minute, it's a nice design, I like it, it works.
Yeah, but not everybody thinks negatively like that though. There are people that do see that, even if they do say, oh, it's man-made, but it's wonderful.
But there's a little bit more of that going on the net now. People are kind of like focusing on it and it detracting away from the thing as an art form, which is there to kind of excite people. So it is attracting a little bit of that negative stuff.
I'd say to them, get out and bloody try it yourself.
Yeah.
That's the underlying bloody message.
Criticising it. Yeah. Go and know how hard it is to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And appreciate it for what it really is,
Yeah.
It's easy to sit in judgment, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you about your point earlier on. Somebody asked you, did you believe it was aliens? And, you don't believe it's aliens anymore, you said. But, that doesn't stop you believing, I suppose, in UFOs and aliens in general, just not as the authors of the crop circles, is it? You sort of still open-minded as to aliens and crop circles? Not aliens making crop circles, but aliens.
Aliens in general.
Yeah. The UFO hypothesis that we may have been visited, or
what, those ones that are made by the government?
No. Just that people see UFOs and that there could be alien life out there. Are you thinking that that's possible?
Well, I don't know.
Anything is possible, I suppose.
Anything is possible. But if I'm being utterly honest, I'm not really convinced. I like to think I am open-minded. I mean, I understand the bad things that are going on with the governments, and I do understand the secret society network. And I see the levels of control that are going on throughout the world, through advertisement and the TV and stuff like that. But one of the things I find difficult to get my head around with the UFOs is that I've never seen any compelling evidence. You watch the things on the YouTube and stuff like that, and it might be a light in the sky that's a little bit wobbly. Sometimes they look a little bit clearer, but with special effects and stuff that are going on, in the movies, it's hard to believe everything you see on the TV. But I'm not saying that UFOs don't exist, because I think people do see these weird flying saucers and stuff like that. But I'm just saying,
whether they're
are they
actually aliens or whether they're actually belong to our, governments around the world, it's another matter, isn't it?
I mean, the reason I say this is it goes right back to Roswell. And when you think of what the government did, the US government did at Roswell, when the UFO first crashed, all the media reported it as a UFO. Even the government agreed it was a UFO. They had this object. And then a couple of days later, that statement was suddenly retracted in quite a major way. And they said, no, actually, it was a weather balloon. Don't worry about it. It's all, all fake. And what that did to the psychology of the people that were into it was to actually reinforce the message that aliens exist, because it was a double negative. There was like, if the government said it was UFO at the beginning and then they've retracted it,
they must be lying.
They must be hiding it.
Yeah, they must be hiding it from us.
Because it come from the government, I think anything that they plant in your head is deliberate distraction. It might be a diversion away. And like Area 51, for example, is the most well-known, documented secret airbase on the planet. The US government, if you actually wrote and asked them about Area 51, they'll still say it doesn't exist. Everybody on the planet knows it exists. What's that doing to the psychology of the human brain? It's actually reinforcing the message even more that in Area 51 they've got the Roswell thing. They're experimenting with UFO technology. They fly a couple of lights zipping around in the sky, and it just reinforces it all the time. I'm not going to say that I definitely don't believe in them. I'm saying I'm open-minded to believe that they might exist or they might not. And at the moment, I'm not convinced. I think that the nature of reality is even deeper than life on other planets, to the point that, how can I say this without trying to go into depth about it, is that maybe all of that out there really is an illusion of isolation. And I say that when you look at the planet Earth in comparison to the entire universe, it is so tiny, it's not even a speck of dust, it's not even an atom. You have the known universe. And what that does, again, in your psychology, is make you think that you can't escape. There's no way out unless you can travel at the speed of light. And even travelling at the speed of light, the fastest speed that they tell you that is possible, you still cannot get anywhere. So you're on this tiny little blue speck, and you know what, you're fucked, because they are, foisting all this crap and control on you. And I just keep thinking, the more you hear about aliens and stuff like that, the more it suits them that you're actually going off in a different direction than what is the truth. And the truth might be that, consciousness is a whole different ballgame that out there doesn't really exist. It's your mind. I don't know.
I see it a little bit differently. Like, I can sense conditioning in what you're saying, because when people talk about aliens and UFOs, they think about, like, I'm seeing Star Trek from when you were a kid, like when you're talking and stuff.
The one from Close Encounters.
You've got an idea of what an alien is, and I'm thinking, did you ever watch Blue Planet when it first came out?
What, with David Attenborough?
Yeah, and
fantastic.
And these creatures that you saw, are they not aliens?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Exactly.
Do you know
but
what
they're
I mean?
not aliens because they live on Earth.
Okay.
Yeah, I know what you mean. They're weird and wonderful,
they're
but
an alien
they're here.
species to us until we encounter them.
Yeah, but an alien could be present. Like the fact that God exists, God is an alien, but he's present in everybody's lives. Do you see how
well, that's
conditioned...
open to interpretation again, though, isn't it? Different people.
But that's what I'm saying. It's like we all have an idea that aliens. All they do is they come from outer space and they try and control us, manipulate us, and mess around with us. And I'm saying, why do we have to see it like that? Matt's fantasising now.
Oh, that's why I got into ufology. I wanted to be messed around with. Hasn't happened yet.
I'm not saying I disbelieve in the alien things. I'm just saying that, so far I wouldn't unequivocally say, yeah, they exist.
Well, you retaliate. You're rebelling to what society is trying to.
Exactly, yeah.
Exactly,
Definitely,
yeah.
And because they're doing that through the movies, Independence Day and all that, all the,
It's like
the whole plethora.
everything's trying to tell you that there are definitely aliens,
Yeah.
and therefore, why are they trying to do that? You know what I mean? They're trying to mess with you and make you believe in something that maybe doesn't.
That doesn't
exist.
exist.
Or there's just
Because
a lot of
an
money to
alien
be
being
made
is
in
an
the story.
established thought, isn't it?
Yeah, or there's just a lot of money to be made in the story. Yeah.
Well, I've been watching Buffy the Vampire Slayer from beginning to end. I'm watching every episode end to end, and I mean, it's
Do
just
vampires exist?
It's total bollocks, isn't it? Really, but I mean, it's great entertainment. I mean, you can't beat it for its like silly sort of value. I mean, Father Christmas, the Easter Bunny. You know, all real, of course.
God.
Yeah.
We got a question from Sonia. She was saying, "Have you seen anything whilst you've been making crop circles? Have you actually seen stuff whilst out doing or had weird experiences?"
Stuff.
Yeah, a few things.
We've had an extra person, haven't we?
Extra person, you bumped into somebody. in
Yeah,
the
that
fog.
wasn't there.
You were.
That was a little bit strange.
Yeah.
Debbie was out on the end of a tape measure, so he was measuring out a circle, and it was very foggy. I couldn't see Debbie, and he just a little squeal, and I felt the tape measure stop. I said, "What are you stopped for?" And you just said you felt something.
Someone next to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was going to bump into, so she stopped.
So yeah, we've experienced that.
So where'd you put that in your mind then? If you don't believe in aliens, what was that about?
Don't know.
Another dimension, something like that. You know, anything
So
really.
I can. You're not complete. What's the word? Don't believe in anything.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No,
completely open to
No.
anything.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, I haven't experienced that myself. Then yeah, I mean, maybe it was a frequency. I don't know, another dimension, anything. I don't quite know what it was, but it was definitely a presence.
We're kind of believers in that time only exists in a man-made construct, but in reality, time doesn't exist at all. So what Debbie might have bumped into was some entity or person occupying the same space at the same time, just in a frequency that you can't see.
By
That's what I think
default,
ghosts are and stuff
doesn't
like
that make it an alien then?
No. It might do, but it might not. I'm not saying it was or it doesn't or not. It was just something.
Yeah, but alien as in like, you know, little green man with, you know.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
That's
yeah.
that. It's just.
Yeah.
But if somebody
Do away with
was,
that
if
image,
Debbie
you
was
know.
into aliens in a major way, then her brain may have
I
read it as that.
would have said, yeah, that was an alien, but
You know, it's open to your own interpretation. I mean, we've seen. We were driving up through a country road between Millkill and Lockeridge, and we saw these enormous objects in the field.
yeah,
They
they were
were-
great big stone bloody, what do you call it, megaliths or
Yeah,
something.
they were
weren't
megaliths.
they?
Yeah, we don't know if they're stone because it was dark, but it was a field, usually where horses are in. And we was driving along this road, and I happened to look out the window, and I saw this big shape right next to the fence, and it looked like you picture the top end of a coffin, sort of up and angle and over, maybe this sort. It was wider at the top than it was at the bottom.
Yeah, definitely.
And there was one at the forefront and one in the background as a silhouette because it was like a full moon or a bright enough moon to see the sky. See a silhouette, a small one, and this other one was massive. And I glanced at it and I felt really threatened all of a sudden, really sort of freaked out. And I said nothing because I've been drinking and all the usual shenanigans, and Debbie was driving. So I thought I was getting heebie-jeebies about something, didn't sort of like pursue it, until Debbie said, "Did you just see that in the field?" Stone cold sober, she doesn't drink or do anything. And she saw it herself and she had the same sort of apprehension about it.
So you're afraid of it then?
Yeah,
Totally.
Yeah,
and we
straight away.
fled the area. But the next day, curiosity got the better of us. We thought, look, we've got to go and look.
We thought it could be in haystacks or
Haystacks,
anything.
yeah.
you
I've
know.
actually got goosebumps because I've had that experience myself.
You seen the same sort of
Really?
shapes, have you?
Not the same shapes, but the experience of seeing something and it being affirmed as something to be afraid of.
Yeah.
And the
But
feeling.
is that not, again, the movie thing, the game thing, that anything supernatural is a scary thing? You look
Yeah.
at ghost films,
Maybe,
are pretty
yeah.
scary, aren't
I
they?
wish we'd have stopped and, you know, inquired what it was sort
Yeah,
of
but you
thing.
couldn't. Whatever it was, you
Yeah.
have to remember what you felt at the time.
It's
Exactly.
fight or flight,
yeah, it
isn't
was,
it?
and we flew.
Yeah,
We
we
just
flew, yeah,
literally
to get
flew.
out.
Went
Yeah.
back the next day to thinking it would be haystacks, and it wasn't. It was a grassed field,
It was,
and there was nothing there.
it was a sort of malevolent feeling there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was,
Like it meant us
definitely.
trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, that could have been our own sort of fear, but
Yeah.
that's what we felt at the time. And funny enough, we talked about that experience to somebody else that we know. And before we described the shape of it, she said, "Oh," she
Let me
goes,
draw
"Did it look
it."
like this?" And she drew it.
She
didn't
drew it, and it was the
what
same
we seen.
shape.
But she saw it in a different place.
Mm.
And her interpretation of it was
A
the
gate,
guardians of the
yeah,
gate, the
a
gate,
gate,
Stargate,
Mm.
up at Mill Hill.
Yeah.
There's authors that have written about a Stargate. I don't understand what that means.
Mm.
But she said her impression of it was the guardians of that thing. So, there was definitely something there. We definitely saw it. Don't know what it was. Somebody else saw it in a different location, same shape. She drew it. We saw it. So, there are definitely forces at work out there.
And how many times has those kind of instances happened, whether it's a positive or negative?
Oh, I don't know, a few times down there. Out making crop circles, going back to that original question. See little coloured lights dancing off the crop. Usually inside the formation, you just catch them. I see them as pink and green. We have
strange weather in the formations as well, don't we?
In that clouds all around us, but not on us.
No rain or anything on us. It's
I've
just
had
literally...
that.
Electrical storms, no thunder, no rain, but a circle
all
of
surrounding us.
Clear sky, but then does that not go back to the affirmations that you do in the circles? Because we certainly do affirmations, we all hands and put good intent into it and stuff like that. And if you're asking for protection and good experiences, then
that's what you're going to get.
You're going to get, and there it is. Like you said earlier, Matt, about people not getting caught making crop circles.
It's because you asked for protection.
Yes. Well, we definitely did, ask for protection to be made invisible.
Protection, and no one ever sees us.
Yeah. I've got Reverend P. Staker is what the hell's he on about here? He says when I've gone to bed, I've stomped in my dreams, I've gone through 2 beds now.
A mattress circle.
Is that what they call it?
Fucking loony. He says he wants to meet you guys. By the way, he says I'd love to meet up with you, and wonders whether or not you'd be interested in making a circle down in Dorset or something.
We love Dorset, don't we?
Dorset.
Absolutely love Dorset.
Yeah. Could be a possibility.
Yeah, and Julian Gibson makes a good reference, good point actually. He says a bit like the movie of 2001 where you saw that thing in the field, looming over the edge, and he says it sounds a bit like the movie 2001, the obelisk, He says it looming up over
the big square obelisk, or rectangle, wasn't it? Yeah, this was kind of like that, but I can relate to that, Except slightly different shape, but it had that sort of
ominous feeling.
You could almost hear the, that music that's behind that every time that bloody things on the telly.
do you think like like simulacra and how the subconscious works, the fact that you first described the thing as looking like a coffin, the fact that you're looking at a coffin in the dark,
negative thing straight away.
Negative. So I can believe that you're projecting that fear.
Yeah. And Reverend P. Staker actually says, we are the gingerbread man. It's interesting you should mention about gingerbread men because I know somebody from the United States who, what was his name now? It's not Stan Winston. It's something like George Winston or something like that. And used to be quite well known years ago for putting on stuff on television on PBS about UFOs. But he told me a really bizarre story. He said, his life was changed by interest in aliens and UFOs, and it stopped him from being an engineer dealing with nuclear warheads, where he used to put the warhead on the missile. And he said he just decided that was all too sort of nasty for him, so he sort of left the military and went looking for UFOs. And he said when he eventually started having messages in his head that he had to be at a certain place at a certain time in order to see people and meet certain people. He said, I want to have a sign. He said, I want to see you. And they said, well, it'll be too frightening for you. So what we'll do is we'll do something that'll actually be a little bit less weird so you don't freak out. And he said he was driving along the road and there was a fucking gingerbread man standing on the side of the road. And it was literally like,
whoa.
Yeah.
That's even more freaky than seeing a bleeding alien, isn't it?
But he said because it was so cartoony, he couldn't believe what he was seeing. And the little gingerbread man literally was like waving to him, and he was like, what the fuck? So he's like pulled his car over and he's looking at the gingerbread man, and he said it wasn't enough for him to sort of like decide that if it was an alien, he probably would have driven away in fear. Yeah. But the gingerbread man, he was like, am I hallucinating this or what? But he actually drove away, and he said, that they showed themselves to him in that form so that he wouldn't freak out. Interesting thought.
No,
on the record, if I saw a big 6-foot gingerbread man stood by the side of the road,
waving at you,
I'm going to shit myself. My trousers are going to need to be changed. It reminds me of Ghostbusters, isn't it? Mr. Stay Puffed.
Don't think of anything.
Put the puff's eyebrows on the gingerbread man. I think that'd be quite scary.
Yeah.
Freaky.
Who is the gate master? Who is the key master? I am the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
Oh, Sonia says about the affirmation. What would happen if you didn't do the affirmation? Have you never done an affirmation?
No,
we always do one.
So you don't know what it would be like to not do one?
No. And I don't know. Not everybody does affirmations, do they?
No,
I'm under the impression
Not everybody.
No, not
does
not
it.
only us. Other people do as well. But I think
so,
other
yes.
people don't. So I guess it's just up to the individuals, really.
It's
But
whatever you
sort of-
believe in, I
Yeah.
suppose, because you project it out there, don't
Yeah,
you?
yeah.
So,
Did you do one the night you were arrested?
I believe I did. Yeah, I did a one the night
Well,
I was
that
arrested.
right out the window, then, isn't it?
well, for Matt it does.
For Matt, it does. Yeah.
Well, the thing is,
We've
even,
never been caught. You know.
No,
even-
never. We've even been bloody filmed
yeah.
and not been,
Yeah.
But I
People have
don't-
seen us
doing
in
it.
the act and not really still.
Not seen us.
I don't know about protection. Protection, I've always considered it to be protection whilst you're making the circle, not protection afterwards, in your life or whatever. And I mean, I was certainly the engineer of my own downfall by giving out too much information about the crop circle. So, yeah. So, the... Rick Morales was the character from Ghostbusters. He was a gatemaster,
I was on telly the other day. Brilliant film.
gatekeeper, and
Yeah,
they're on about doing
Kingmaster.
another Ghostbusters movie.
Oh, they're always
It'd be
talking about
really
it, but
yeah.
so far they've not found a script that suits them, but they need to.
You're okay, yeah. Okay, right. Well, we're just about coming up to the end of the show. So, if you've got any more pressing questions you'd like us to put across to the guests, we can do that. And otherwise, we're going to sort of start wrapping it up. And yeah, this goes out on the internet. You can pick it up on live stream, but unfortunately you've got these adverts that play in between, which is a bit of a pain in the bum. So I might see whether or not I can upload them onto YouTube as complete clips, because currently they're allowing people on YouTube to upload, if you've got an account which is in good standing, up to 4 hours you can upload onto YouTube now instead of the 15-minute clips. So if anybody's interested in doing something like that, it might be the time to check whether your account is able to do it. So, any more questions? I think we're...
Man U 4, Man United versus Barcelona in the final.
Oh, does that mean anything to anybody?
Absolutely not.
No.
Oh God. So yes, I'll have to get the bleeps on. If I put this on YouTube, I will have to edit this in relation to our friend, or I'll put it up there and see whether he complains about it and it gets taken down, and then I'll put it up with the bleeps on. Hasn't been complained about yet, so we shall see. But yeah, it's a real shame that things are going like this now. It's really sad, because I mean, it's people are prepared to make wild statements about crop circles and prepared to make these sort of wild claims about people involved with circle making things, but they're not prepared to allow right of reply or for us to put our point of view across. Okay, I can be a bit effing and blinding and be a bit cruel sometimes, but at the end of the day, if you don't want reply, then don't make the statements. That's my argument. Where's my right of privacy? Where's my right of privacy from somebody making complete asinine statements about me being a government agent? Where's my right of reply to say, you shouldn't be talking about that? So, yeah. Any points in closing,
Sonia just asked. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
So, are you go on?
Yes.
You carry on, mate.
Sorry. Has anyone ever got ill whilst making a formation?
I have, but that's from hay fever.
Well, we've had two experiences with two different people where they've nearly had a heart attack.
Because they're bloody unfit or what?
Yeah. One actually told us, look, I've got a bit of a dodgy heart and everything. We thought he was just messing about. Turns out a couple of months later he had a double heart bypass.
Shit.
So he was actually telling the truth.
Yeah.
And then somebody else started having a major sort of, asthma attack, to the point that I had to say to him, look, stop doing it. Yeah, and just call it quits. It's all right if you don't. And he was so adamant that he wanted to be part of it. He just carried on going. So we worked together, so I'll just keep an eye on him. But as often it was like, could hardly breathe. So, yeah.
But not ourselves.
But not ourselves, no, not really.
I
get knackered.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, I mean it can be cold and chilly sometimes, and you find that if you're not actually working, if you've got to sort of be the person who's waiting for more instructions, you get cold very quickly.
Yeah.
So you can find yourself becoming quite chilled and feel a bit ill from that, really, I suppose. But no, I suppose generally, as long as you're moving and working, so tiredness can really catch you, can't it? I mean, if you're not doing too much, you can find yourself nodding really badly, like as if I'll just put my head down on the ground and I'll just go to sleep for a minute until they finish doing that circle, and then they go, we finished now, and tap you on the shoulder and you go, oh no, just wake me up. It's like, that's terrible when that happens, and you sort of got to get yourself moving then and fighting off the sleep, to get yourself back into
Oh,
the...
you're making us tired thinking about it.
Yeah.
Oh, dear.
Can I just say something before we go there?
You may, sir.
Just to bring your attention to the fact that it's the anniversary of a very close friend of ours' death tomorrow,
Yes.
who was actively involved in the Crop Circle fraternity.
Yes. Well, good luck to him.
Yeah. Just raise a can.
Yes.
Cheers, mate.
And
Still thinking of you.
I heard Gaz Brookfield, who's playing at the Lamb, I think on August the 13th. If you want to come down, Gaz Brookfield, he wrote a song and was singing about him in the barge. Actually,
He did that song, did he?
Yeah, he did that song and
Cool.
introduced it for Paul, and said it was about his deciding to leave this mortal coil for other planes, maybe better. Yes, so bit of a shame he decided to depart, but oh well. Yeah.
So Paul.
Yes, for Paul. There's a moment of silence there. So yeah, what can you say? Don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Oh dear. So
He's died.
yeah.
Oh, he's only gone and done it.
Oh, he's yeah.
He's done it.
Fucking supposed to blow the bloody doors off. Yeah. Right. And no more questions. Andrew Perker says, yes, I can give you my full email, not full email address, my full address again, so you can post the Andy Buckley video. And also, Mr. Perker, you did say you were going to send us the videos for analysis of the UFO and all that sort of stuff. If you can send us the tapes, we would love to have those from you, and we will sort that out. So okay, well it's exactly 10 o'clock, and we said we're going to be really good tonight, and we were going to stop it bang on 10. So without further ado, thanks very much to our guests, Lee and Debbie.
Our pleasure.
Good night.
Of the Vale of Wiltshire. So and Agent S, and to all
Thank you.
all in channel. We've got about 20 users in there tonight. We've got Andrew Perker, Advahasa, Bob Dull, Darthy, Gonads, Gordy, Hedgedread, Gingy, Jimone, Julian Gibson, Kernow, Monad, Peacetaker, Pixie Dread, Plan 9, Roger CCC, Sonia, Sunday Girl, Swim, and Unix. And anyone else who might be listening. So thanks for tuning in, and we shall catch you next week. And Rob Irving, we need you on the show. So okay, thanks very much and good night.